Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Justin, and today Doug is having a special vacation with his family. I can't tell you where they are because what's that look? Why you give me that look? Why you give me that look? I was trying to do a nice intro. I wasn't going to throw Doug under the bus and tell people where he really was.
I thought you were going to throw him under the bus. I was surprised that you. That's why I gave the look. I was surprised you didn't throw him under the bus.
Well, Doug's on a nice vacation with his family, and that voice you're hearing is my co-host, who's just derailing the whole show already. Please welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Chris Vellucci.
Ooh, who wants to see how many butter knives I put in my slots?
I told you, Chris, you do the voice, and I will boot you off of this call. I'm not even joking. I will finish this as a solo episode. Try me.
Oh, buddy. I like trying to see how many butter knives I can fit in my slots.
You realize the point of this is to see how many people we can get to listen to the episode, not drive them away before we're even past the intro.
Wait, what?
Okay. All right. So, Chris, thank you for joining us again. We appreciate this. Doug thanks you. I thank you. I appreciate it. I want to start by asking a question here, Chris. I'm going to ask you. I want to ask you something. If you could redesign the human body, what would you add or change?
Oh, so much. From one, the anxiety. I would just turn the anxiety all the way off. I don't think we need that.
You think you think anxiety is a waste?
I think false doom. Yeah.
You don't think anxiety has driven us to some of mankind's foremost inventions?
Okay, fine, have it. Anxiety helps. Here's
Don't you wouldn't have a hit song, if anxiety weren't a thing.
If Goat-Ye wasn't a thing, she stolen.
She paid homage to it, first off. Okay, but go ahead. Anxiety, what else?
No, I think about this often because, obviously I believe in evolution. Let me just put that out there.
Good, thank you. All right. Tell us your views on flat Earth.
The climate.
Because you've railed on that a lot recently.
I'm just saying, mountains don't make sense. They're not there. They're made up. I've never climbed a mountain. Have you? See? Point in case.
The best part about the arguments like this is when you don't allow the other person to rebut what you're saying. I've never climbed a mountain. Have you? Great. No, that's fantastic. Obviously, if you're not going to say anything, then that means you have not climbed a mountain. Moving on. Let's talk about Jesus.
Okay, look, if this is the earth, this is what it is. So here's the earth. It's perfectly flat. And now you're walking, and like, oh, look, a mountain. It's not. It just tilts.
Oh, that's the earth.
Yeah.
So the earth is pivoting on an axis, is what you're saying?
Yeah. It's
like a flat plane, and it's like a seesaw, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's completely your perspective. The earth tilts for just you.
For those just listening to the podcast, Chris was holding up a flat surface and teeter-tottering it and
tilted it. Yeah,
it tilted it. That's his explanation of mountains.
Here's my fingers walking.
He's picked up a new flat surface and is showing me on a different flat surface now.
And then it tilts.
Yes.
And then that's you like doing a little Yoshi flutter kick.
So, besides flat Earth, what would you change?
Thumb toes. The thumb toes. I get so upset. We evolved from, monkeys and apes. And, we had the thumb toe. We had 2 more hands. We had 2 times the amount of hands.
Okay.
And we were like, nah, I don't need it. Like, this is the hardest. Here's the thing. You really, okay.
Let's go. Let's get into it. Here we are.
My friends and I would always ask, like, oh, kind of like this, not a sensitive question, but it was like, oh, would you rather lose like an arm or a foot, like an arm or a leg? And everybody would be like, yeah, a leg, because this is so hard to replicate. The unique movements of all of your fingers is like, yeah, do you know what they did to solve, like, when somebody lost a leg? They put, like, a stick on it, and you had a peg leg, and they were like, good, done, fixed. Like, nailed it. Like, because you don't need all of that. Like, yeah, it might help a little bit with balance, but like this intricacy of like being able to move individual digits the way that we can, it's just like, it's the hardest thing to replicate. That's why we don't have really good prosthetics for arms. We can have like the little, like it opens, it closes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why did we lose our second pair of hands? Can you imagine not needing another person to play video games with, and you just had one control and then you had the second player down there? You're like,
well, you're presuming though that you could split your brain into two. I guess if you can play the piano, two different parts on two different hands,
exactly.
you could learn to watch two sides of the screens and play two players. But I'm not gonna lie, I like the answer. Like, I think that's a fair, like foot dexterity. If you could put those the toe thumbs. Is that what you call them? Toe thumbs?
Yeah, I don't know what they would be called.
Yeah,
but
not thumb toes, but toe thumbs.
Toe thumbs. Yeah.
Yeah. If you put those back on there, I am jealous of the fact that an ape can hang upside down. They can just grip whatever they need to grip, and they're off on their way. Yeah,
so easy.
It's nice. I would throw in gills. I would give us the ability.
Gills.
I would not see. And the thing is, I don't know if I necessarily want to be staring at gills, but if I could add or change something to the human body, it would be the ability to breathe underwater.
Oh,
I think or just making some sort of internal thing where you could,
like a lungfish,
where you could synthesize water. I don't know what it is, but you could extract the oxygen out of the
synthesize
water. That's it. You could alchemy water. What am I saying? I don't know, but you could extract the oxygen internally, and then you could just be underwater. I think that would make me way less anxious going into, again, anxiety. Coming back to anxiety, make me way less anxious whilst in deep waters.
Just get rid of the anxiety. You can go into the deep waters now.
Yeah, but that doesn't prevent me from dying.
Well, you didn't say that.
The anxiety is a very real for something that is going to happen. But you take away the drowning aspect, and now the anxiety goes with it. That's a twofer.
And here's the other one, because it got me thinking about it. Because I'm like, well, what about just like being able to hold your breath for a long time? And then I was thinking about dolphins, and you know what? That's the other thing I would do. The food hole and the breathing hole separate. Just why do we have
more
it as
choking? Yep.
Yeah. Why do we?
That seems like a flaw in the system,
right? Oh, and can we put the boys in something more than just like a thin meat, like a meat purse? Can we put like, I don't know?
Oh,
yeah, the boys.
Yes.
Can we put them behind like, I don't know, some bone? Really protect them. Something that if something like comes and tries to hit me, it's like ding and just bounces off.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, depending on the angle, it is behind a bone sometimes. I did it.
There's no bone in there.
Anyway, look, here's the difference. You and I obviously have differences.
Eyes everywhere. I want more eyes. I want 8 eyes. I want to be like a spider. I want to see full 360 around me at all times.
You want a IRL 360 camera on your head.
Yes.
Now, see, that works for you though. For people who are listening to the podcast, that works. For me, it would get all obstructed with the hair. I don't know if that would work for everybody.
Well, all right, get rid of the hair. We don't need the hair. Come on, look at me.
You're just okay. Now I feel like you're advocating for everyone to
bald men, bald women too, bald men and women, bald and non-binary, bald,
equally
non-binary
bald,
men
equally
and women,
bald,
LGBTQ bald.
See,
where the B stands for bald.
You're inclusive, and I like this about you, Chris. What do you feel about how knees work?
Yeah, there could be something done there.
I'm just saying, I've heard some people, because birds, their knees go the opposite way. I'm like, would you be interested in that? Any benefit?
I wonder. I don't know. Does it make you run faster, jump higher? Is it like Converse sneakers in the Sandlot? I guess, well, here's the thing with knees. The cartilage just eventually goes away, and then you're screwed. So, yeah, something about that could be fixed. I don't know what, but I think it could. There's also, like, the 2 tendons that go around it. So you got your ACL and your PCL, right?
Okay, now you're just showing off.
ACT, PC, something like that. ACL, PCL. Yeah. And then the meniscus tears and the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but we could probably fix that. Here's the. You know what we could do? You know what we could do? Chop it off. Put a peg leg. You're good.
You really have a thing against legs. I think that's the theme we're wandering across in this episode is Chris hates legs.
I saw a great thing that was like, a man with like no legs like climbed Mount Everest, and it's like, what's your excuse? And then the top comment was, yeah, his legs won't hurt, mine will.
That's pretty solid logic. That's pretty solid logic. I've had trouble with my knees for years, so if we could do something to correct that, to ease the pain there, I don't know what it is, but if we're just changing or adding something to the body, I don't know, reinforced knees for everybody.
Yeah.
Because I would love to go for a run again, Chris, but I don't know if that's happening. My knees hurt.
That's sad. That makes me sad.
Does it? Or is
that
something?
A little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, when someone can't do something anymore just because like their body's giving up on it, the spirit's willing, but the physical body can't do it.
You know, your body just rejects. You know what I mean? And then we're talking about the bone again.
The bills.
Chris is what people don't know. If you're just the first time you've hearing Chris on the episode, Chris is very PG. He likes to keep things as PG, if not G, as he can. So he won't say things like massive erection or hard cock.
I made a face at both of those for everybody that's just listening. I made a face that said, no, thank you.
My goal today is to get him either A, as uncomfortable as possible, or B, to, say something that he normally doesn't say. We won't go back to what we said in the pre-roll, but, we'll see if we can get him to drop
I only do that in private. Because then you go around, you're like, Chris said this thing, and everyone's like, no, he didn't. He would never.
I don't believe it. Yeah. Where does that come from? I don't know if I've ever asked this in the show. Where does your self-editing come from?
Me gaslighting people. I just think it's really funny.
Wait, for real or no?
No. I don't know. I don't know. At some point in time, I think it was like maybe in high school, because it's just like you're not supposed to. And so it'd be like, what was it, like Somerville Heights? What was that show where he's like, "Puck you, miss"? And she's like, "Did you say F you?" And he's like, "No, I said puck you."
I have no idea what you're referring to.
You gotta. Oh, well, this will come as my recommendation to you at the very end then.
Somerdale Heights.
Yeah, I want to say that's what it was called.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I'm going to look it up. Tell me about why.
It might just be Summer Heights. It's like it was either a New Zealand or Australian comedy show, and it's just got this one actor who's like a 30-something-year-old man, but he's playing like 3 to 4 different like high schoolers, and like everybody else is a high schooler, but he's just playing like the popular girl. Yeah, did you find
Heights
it?
High.
Summer Heights High, yeah.
Yes, okay. So it had 1 season, 8 episodes.
Yep.
Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Yep.
Kill it in a day.
I mean, you're really like this seems, but it's got a 75 on Rotten Tomatoes, so apparently people do think it's worth it.
It's great, yeah. The guy that plays all the characters is fantastic. What's his name? I'm sure you're looking at it right now.
I'm assuming you're talking about Chris Lilly?
Yeah.
Liley?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. You'll hear more about that when Chris recommends things to us at the end of the episode.
A little teaser. Stay tuned.
A little teasy. Chris, before we get
wait
into our
till the
topic,
end.
That's
I want
right.
a big wait till the end at the bottom of this with a laughy face, with a cry emoticon. I want just really ham it up like all the viral stuff. Wait till the end. You won't believe number 4.
We'll give that to our social media person, and we'll have them mock that up for us.
Isn't that you? Yeah. Don't you guys have like a very small operation?
That's hearsay. Chris, what have you been up to? What have you been up to since you were on last time, buddy?
Since I was around, I don't know, when was last time? Went through a really hard.
I have no idea.
I went through a really hard breakup.
Cool, way to bring the show down. So our main topic for today's episode.
The pain. I would take the pain out of the humans too.
These broken hearts for the birds. For the birds, I tell you. I'm sorry to hear about that, Chris, but we don't have time to get to that right now. We'll have to circle back around. Today, what we're talking about is reboot it or nuke it. What everyone really wants to hear about.
My relationship, I probably nuke it.
So we're going to be talking about rebooting things, or do you just nuke them where they stand, leave the IP in the grave where it is currently buried? So let's start with talking about, let's do a case for reboots. So what are some successful reboots that make a strong case for there being reboots for things? One of the first ones that springs to mind for me is the Star Trek franchise. The new one J.J. Abrams did came out 2009. And then, you know, the subsequent ones from there.
Quite solid.
First one, you know, I can't really the sequels to the reboot, you can have your own opinions about. That first one I thought was a very solid, and I know a couple like diehard Trek fans that said that they felt the same way. So I feel like that one is pretty universally accepted as a really good reboot. Yeah,
I would say yes. And I mean, like, the reason why I think it works is because the originals were ahead of their time. Like, they were like, we're trying to explore space and all of these things that, like, we can only do so much with, like, our imagination and the tools that are present to us. But now, as special effects evolve and CGI and all of that, it was like, now you could really give a showing for this space exploration show and movie, and, like, you got to really see those lasers work. It wasn't like silly, like, oh, let me like, you know, like back in like the 60s, 70s. When it was like the first episode aired?
Of the original series was the 60s.
Yeah. 60s. Yeah, exactly. Like, you just like didn't have that. Now it's like, you know, you had to do a lot with your imagination. And now, you know, with the technology we have, it's like you're able to like actually see that laser. And so it was very, very campy, but then it translated to being very, very realistic very well. Which I think is the interesting part.
So that's like what made it work was that there's an upgrade in technology. You could actually see fully realized what people were trying to show you in that original one. So the technology that we had to tell the story caught up with the story itself.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would also say another couple that come to mind for me, like Dread, I thought was a great reboot with Carl Urban. And then It Chapter 1, again, the original It, as much of a cult classic as it was with Tim Curry, not a good flick. Like, it just kind of wasn't. I think this is one of the better adaptations of a Stephen King, piece. So I think that that was a good reboot because, you know, it caught up with the times. It had something to say. Again, the technology brought us up to a point where we could really see the terror that Pennywise was bringing to these children.
True. That was really cool to like really get into like the demon side of that. Yeah. Also, surprised that you picked that just because Carl Urban isn't in it, but he's in the other two.
That's a fair point. I didn't even I didn't even consider that. Yes.
I was like, I see a pattern.
Up until that one, my reboots are exclusively Carl Urban based vehicles. So that's
get a Jurassic Park with Carl Urban. That would be great.
Yeah, if we could reboot The Boys with Carl Urban, that'd be amazing. Again,
they nailed it again.
But I want him to play Huey this time. or oh my god, I just blanked. Starlight.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
No,
stepped on my
Carl
own
Urban
joke.
in that outfit.
I would love to see him in that onesie. Here we go. So that's the case for reboots, right? There's some validity behind rebooting certain franchises, certain IPs. But let's talk about, there's a lot of people who disagree with the need for reboots. And there are some IPs that they took a big swing, and a gigantic miss. I've got some, can you think of any that feel like a huge miss to you? Should not have happened.
Well, so I mean, the one that comes to mind, but I'm like, was it a reboot? Maybe the Ninja Turtles. Like,
I would consider that a reboot for sure. Yeah, they've been rebooted a couple times.
Yeah, the 1990s Ninja Turtles, and it was like they went in there knowing what they were doing. They knew it was campy. They knew it was going to be silly. Absolutely. They put martial artists in rubber suits, and they were doing insane shit. I would to be a martial artist doing that with like, those suits had to be like 50 pounds.
Oh my
and
God.
They're doing stuff in them. Like that is insane to me. And then to go to like the CGI route where they like made them gigantic. They made them like footballers. They were huge. They were just like, I don't know. And it was just absolutely insane. What comes to mind is Gears of War. Have you ever played Gears of War?
I have,
Xbox? Yeah. Where like all the humans are just like,
they're just beefed out. Like you're humongous. They're walls. They're flesh walls is what they are.
Fucking Bender yelling out to Dom about Maria. Um, but like they were too big. Um, and yeah, so that was a terrible one to me. And they went full CGI. They were like, let's just go full CGI. And this is where, so kind of like what I was saying earlier, where I was like, oh, CGI was good, and so that really helped Star Trek.
Right.
It did the opposite for this, where it was like you relied too heavily on it. It was never about that, and you made it about that, and trying to make it look cool and whatever.
Right. Well, and I think that, and that also goes back to like something like Jurassic Park. Why Jurassic Park, the original, was so good is because they tried to use as much practical effects. They didn't try to outkick their coverage, right? They used as many practical effects as they could. They supplemented with CGI, but they didn't bet the whole pot on one way of doing it. And so it on this technology that could fail on you, and so that's why I think the original Turtles, Jurassic Park, it worked so well, and this over reliance on CGI for the new ones, just they missed.
Well, I was gonna say, it's also the characters. Like, again, going back to like when you think about when I go back and think about the Ninja Turtles, the early one, like their relationship was great. They really were like four brothers. They're messing with each other. Like, they're sitting down watching TV, and Mikey's like chewing on like a pretzel, and Raph's like, "Hey, can you chew a little louder? I can still hear out of this one." And he looks at it, and then he just like takes even a bigger and louder crunch. It's like he would absolutely do that as a sibling.
Absolutely.
But you didn't have that in the next one, I feel like. It was kind of like they tried to manufacture that. And then going to Jurassic Park, I saw somebody make this point, and I was like, that is exactly it. And it was that they were like, the reason why Jurassic Park worked and like all these new ones don't is because the first Jurassic Park was that you had scientists who were experts in their field, a botanist, a paleontologist, a chaostician, a mathematician, like surviving in this world that didn't have any precedent, but they were using their intelligence and their know-how to navigate it and get out of it alive.
Sure.
They were scientists in that field. Whereas then in like the next one, it's like Chris Pratt, he's got a gun. He used to be a Marine. He shoots stuff. He knows how to shoot stuff. He's got stuff to shoot, like.
Yep. And can he train raptors? He speaks.
And can he do one of these? Just, no. Talk to the hand. The face ain't listening.
Classic Pratt right there, by the way. Well done.
It's just like, what?
And I think that why it worked in Star Trek too, and not the Turtles. Kind of going back to that is the fact that, again, Star Trek rather, it was the people that had the connection. They used real people. They supplemented what they needed with special effects, so it wasn't everything wasn't just surrounding this. And they weren't trying. And it wasn't like the Turtles was an animated one. The new one was Seth Rogen. Like that one, I've heard has been getting good, but they leaned into this is animation, right? They're not trying to make you believe that these CG characters are real when in fact, obviously they're not. So again, good thing the technology didn't work. It was kind of a cash grab, right? They were like, oh, we know people, the millennials will love this. It's just, we're going to pull on the nostalgia, and it just didn't work. A couple other ones that I thought were garbage was Ghostbusters, the 2016 one. I like what they were attempting to do, but man, was it a swing and a fucking huge miss.
I think a lot of the jokes in there were they were trying to go for like low hanging fruit.
Absolutely. And then Point Break was another one. The original Point Break was of its time, and it sat perfectly in there. It had Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze. It was just it was its own thing, Gary Busey. And then this new one was just like, again, it was a nostalgia grab. People were like, well, you remember Point Break? Well, here it is, but different and not as fun. Like it's just it just doesn't work.
I got to be honest, I've never seen Point Break.
You should. It's absolutely. You know what? The next time you're up here, we're putting that on we're watching the original Point Break, and you're gonna see unnecessary 80s movie at its peak. It's
fantastic. Can we do that culinary thing where it's like you watch the movie, but you pause it at like different intervals to like have a meal that goes with that part of the movie?
We can try. Sure, yeah, we'll do fish tacos since it all happens. They're all surfing. Right, we'll do beach fare.
All right, easy enough.
91, by the way, not 80s. I apologize for anyone out there who's going to come at me. Also, come at me. So now that we've talked about case for, case against, let's do a little gauntlet. Okay, so we're going to go through. We're going to talk about reboot it or nuke it, right? Either let's reboot it or we're just going to say never touch this IP again. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple here, and then we're going to discuss what do we think. Do we need a remake of this, or has it passed? And it's either perfect as is, or it was so bad nothing will make it better. Nothing could ever save this franchise, right? So it could be either one, right? It could be either one. It was so good that we need to see it again, or it was so bad. Oh no.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Because you mentioned Keanu Reeves.
Please.
In Point Break. I want Speed. But here's the thing. I want Speed remade, but I want 10 speeds. And I want it to be just like
on
Fast
a
and the
Huffy,
Furious.
like a bike?
No. I want 10. I want 10 movies. I want 10 movies.
You got it. You want a franchise.
Yeah, I want a franchise of it. But I want you to do exactly what you did with Fast and the Furious, right?
Okay. Yep.
It's like the first one, what were they speeding in? Cars. Fantastic. Amazing. Second one, what were they speeding in? Also cars. But then there was a boat. There was a boat involved. And then in the third one, they got like a submarine involved. And then they had a tank. So I want speed with each of these vehicles. I want to get a submarine. I want to get a tank. They went into space at one point. I want that.
Well, they did that with the original Speeds. Like the second one was Speed 2 Cruise Control, and they were on a ship. Right, yeah.
Right, what's the next thing? I need another thing.
You needed to keep going, right? They're like, okay, we're on this mission to the moon, but oh my God, our rocket's going too fast.
Yes. And that rocket has to keep going too fast.
We're going to overshoot the moon if we don't slow this rocket down.
No, I don't want slow down. I want speed.
Oh, got it. Okay. So you want it to go. I see what you're saying.
If that rocket slows down, a bomb goes off every time. It's the same plot. It's just different vehicles. That's all I want.
There's the tension though, right? There's the tension because if they slow down, the bomb goes off, but if they don't slow down, then they overshoot the moon. And the next planet is Mars, and it's too far away. They're never going to make it. Right. You got to figure out, what do you do?
Hold on. Here's my brain going. Me. Okay, so the first thing, car, whatever. Then we go to like truck. Let's just keep getting bigger. Then we do a tank. Eventually we get to like airplane. We get to rocket. Now we're in outer space, right? So what's the next thing that needs to keep speeding?
Light.
The Earth. You gotta keep the Earth going, and it has to keep moving through space at 550 million kilometers per hour. And if it slows down, they're gonna blow up the Earth.
This is the perfect cameo for Neil deGrasse Tyson. He can be on a news show saying like, inexplicably, the Earth is slowing its rotation. We need to keep the Earth above X number of thousands of kilometers.
Or else we all die. Which that was.
Or else someone implanted a bomb in the Earth that will explode.
Yes. And that's the thing, is that it has to be not that like we'll die of natural causes. Someone put a bomb.
Right.
Someone put a bomb on the Earth's speedometer.
They're calling it the God bomb.
That's on the Earth's speedometer. They got to keep their foot on the gas pedal.
That's right. Oh my God. It almost writes itself, Chris. It almost writes itself.
Hold on, I have inspiration. I gotta go write something.
All right, what about let's keep it old school. What about the Goonies? Does that one need a reboot? Do we need to see the Goonies again? Not a sequel, but a reboot. Do we need to retell that tale?
No. Keep it as is. Keep it as is. It was of the time. It was
I would argue because it was of the time it was of, is why they got away with a lot. I don't think you could do a lot of the same things today. So I don't know if that movie could get made. Exactly.
It's like, it has that nostalgia. And it's like, how dumb we were. Like, how foolish we were. Yes.
Right.
What a time.
What a time. What a simpler time to be alive when children could go after horrible stereotypes of Italian mobsters and, come across this poor individual with obviously some sort of disabilities that they've been keeping in a cell, and then he develops a crush on a small child. And should we keep going? No. Okay, let's move on.
We should probably end it.
We should probably. What about? I feel like a lot of these older movies lend themselves to this question. So what about The Princess Bride? Again, to me, this one feels
that one. Here's the thing: there's
perfect.
nothing wrong with that movie. Yeah,
right.
It's perfect. They nailed it. It's like Man, there's another movie that's like that. Back to the Future. They're like talking about rebooting that. I'm like, why? You nailed it. You did it right the first time. You don't need to redo it. So I will say, interestingly enough, though, and I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things, and I really loved the original, is How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. Well,
So sorry, keep going.
No, I was going to say that leads us to another whole category we could talk about, which is the rebooting of the animated into the live action.
Okay, see, that's what I was thinking, because I was kind of like, the Ninja Turtles thing. And I was like, I feel like we're getting off to that, which I was then going to say,
Let
which
me ask
obviously...
you real quick. Are you shaking your foot right now?
I am.
Calm it down. The whole camera's going like this. Viewers are going to hate you.
Oh, boy. Sorry. I got excited. I have restless
I know you
legs.
get excited.
I got restless leg syndrome. If only I didn't have these damn legs, am I right?
Am I right? Oh, boom. Bringing it back full circle. You were saying live action.
Live action, what would they do? They were doing like Lilo and Stitch. I heard Snow White bombed so bad that Disney was like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And we were like, yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah. No one asked for it.
But like, How to Train Your Dragon? Because I want to see the dragons. Like,
but they're not real dragons, Chris. They're more CG.
Well, that's why we all loved Dragonheart, right? We were all like, love dragons. Yeah, we didn't. Dragonheart, Sean Connery.
I know it, Chris. I just think
Kevin Costner.
Love's a strong word, but okay.
Was it Kevin Costner?
Let me find out. I can't remember. I genuinely don't remember. 1996. Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. It was Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. Yep.
They really should have done Kevin Costner.
I gotta say, going through this cast list again, there's a lot of named actors in this cast.
I would reboot Dragonheart.
Cool. Why? Do you just want everything with dragons in it, Chris?
Turtles aren't dragons. They're related.
So I see.
You
I
want
disagree.
Carl Urban?
In everything. If he played the dragon, I'd be fine with it. If he sprouted wings,
there we go.
Flew around.
The dragon.
But I disagree with the How to Train Your Dragon. I think rebooting animated into live action, by and large, I will say there may be some exceptions that you'll bring stuff up and I'll say, oh, that's right. But by and large, I would say that we don't need animated turn into live action. Like I don't like the animated stuff is so good. Like I don't know if I really want to see Moana live action. Like that the original, like Moana itself is so fucking good. It's so good. Yeah. I don't think I need a live action. And I know I'm not necessarily the target audience for it, but I don't know how you're going to improve on it because it was so good to begin with. And like The Lion King and The Jungle Book and all these things, like why is anyone clamoring for live action versions of this stuff? I don't think they are.
No, I mean, I think it's just the laziness of like, we don't have any new ideas. So let's just do the same old idea. Grabs. Yeah, you're right. I mean, exactly. I mean, how much money goes into doing a live action of one of those bad boys?
I don't know. We could pick one. Give me one. We'll find out what the budget is on it.
Lion King. What was the budget for Lion King?
All right. Lion King 2019 film. Budget on that one was $260 million.
What did it get?
What did it make? That is the question.
Yeah.
Box office. The film, let's see. It passed the $1 billion mark at the box office. Calculated the net profit of the film to be $580 million when factoring together expenses, P&A, and all the other stuff. So that one made its money back, and that was a cash grab because people. Did we need it? No, but did Disney make money off it? Absolutely.
Of course,
because fans of the original are going to go back and see it. So Princess Bride, no, that one.
Yeah, Princess Bride, no,
is perfect.
Definitely not.
Let's find one that I think because we've said
Jaws,
no to a lot of these. You want to reboot Jaws?
No, don't touch it.
Oh, I was about ready to fight you right here, right now.
Yeah, what is it? It's the 50th anniversary, right?
It is, yeah. We just rewatched it the other night, and
it's a perfect movie.
This is such a good movie, and so much happened wrong on that set that if it had happened right, it would not have been the movie it was. It was one of those things that proved that filmmaking, the best films, are a bunch of happy accidents that just kind of worked. They wanted Bruce was the name of the shark, right? They wanted him to do so much more and be the start of the show, and he kept breaking down. So they had to how do we show the presence of him, you know? And then that's when they had like the dock floating and the this and the music and the that's
the
one
waves.
Of about 3-4 dozen things that went wrong on that set. He was over budget, over time. There's a cool documentary that's coming out. The trailer looks incredible. It's I think it's called Jaws at 50, and it's going to be on Disney Hulu. I think it's a Nat Geo documentary. And it's new interviews. They sat down with Steven Spielberg. They sat down with a bunch of filmmakers and people who were in the film. So it's some of the old stories, but some new stuff that you haven't heard about from this. I would strongly recommend everyone check that out when it drops. It comes out in July.
I also love my favorite thing about Jaws. This is, I like say this every year, is that it's like Jaws is about how a scientist tells a political person that it's not safe to do the thing that they're doing and people will die, and they don't listen to them because of money and they don't care until their kid or their family is immediately involved, and then suddenly they care.
Bingo. Exactly.
And it's just like, like forever.
Just, our life.
Today.
Yeah, today.
My other favorite part, hold on, there's one, because I love that movie.
Yeah.
There's one part where they talk about shutting down the beaches for like 24 hours. And in the background, there's one background character where they're like, well, I have a hotel, I have a this. And they're like, we're just going to shut them down for 24 hours. And this one background character just goes, 24 hours? That's like 2 weeks.
I'm hoping that they cover that in the doc. I want to know if that was an improv line or was that written? That's amazing. That's amazing.
Like if they heard that and they were like, that's the best one we have. All right, put it in.
Well, I guess we're doing that take.
24 hours, that's like 2 weeks. This person knows time.
But so we said a lot of ones that we didn't want rebooted. One that I think needs to be rebooted today. I think as an adult, I would have a much deeper appreciation for it. I hate you so much. I have much deeper appreciation for it is Office Space. I want to see that movie done again.
Yeah.
Because again, that movie is fantastic as is, but I would love to see with the work from home culture, like remote work, like all the updated
they have more
stuff
to add
that
to
we,
it. Yeah.
Exactly. I think we could really amp up what that movie is. I don't know who I would cast in it quite, but I would love to see that movie remade.
That would be a really good one. Yeah.
I just think it's so relevant today. Another one that I'm back and forth on whether I want this remade because I feel like it is just a reflection of where we currently are is Idiocracy.
Yep.
Like that, like the amount of parallels.
That would be too close to home.
You think it'd be too close to home?
That would be like one of those things where you're like, is this satire?
That's just the news at this point. It's just the news.
Please tell me this is satire. You know what? This was here's a hard pitch for you. Are you ready?
Let me hear it.
Labrynth.
Okay, pitch it or sell it to me. Why? Why did we need to remake this?
Because I think you could just do. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity to do more.
Well, let me ask you: was Pan's Labyrinth a reboot of the Labyrinth?
No, definitely not. It's a completely different thing, I would say.
Because I never saw Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth was like
okay,
Nazism and like escaping reality and like mystical stuff. Yeah. The other one, granted, neither of them really
you're talking about.
Yeah. Neither of them really represent the board game very well. So I think that's why we gotta really get the board. They're missing the point of the board game.
Okay.
But no, I just think that there's like an opportunity to do a lot more there. I know. Here's my thing. I have such a soft spot for Jim Henson and like animatronics, Ninja Turtles. Like he was on that, where it's like I don't want them to CGI all of the characters, but I just think that they could do it again. Kind of like I think that there's like that has the same campiness that like Star Trek had, and where Star Trek was improved with like today's technology. I think they could do the same with Labrynth. Okay. Make it a little more. I think they could raise the stakes more, because I think when who is it, Jennifer Connelly,
yes.
Right? Yeah, I think when she's going through, there's like definitely moments where you're like, I don't feel like she's actually in danger. So I feel like with today's technology, they could make it seem like she's actually in danger, and like really kind of going through this like crazy weird labyrinth. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, you've sold me. I'll accept it. I'll fund it. I'll put
wow,
money behind
okay.
it. Yeah.
That was easy. Okay.
Don't worry. You got you.
And you get the nostalgia. Make your 580 million.
You know what I said?
Whatever it was.
I'm not into nostalgia grabs, Chris. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay,
you
fine.
just anti-sold
Don't
me
get
on it, right? What about the the X-Men franchise? Should we reboot that yet again?
Okay.
What about actually? Because if we dive real quick into listener submissions, Emilio did say, and I kind of want to bring this up, but the MCU. He just I asked the listeners on our Discord. I said, weigh in on what's one property that you would love to see rebooted and one that absolutely should not be touched. And he just said the MCU. It's not necessarily a hot take or anything, but superhero fatigue is real, and we're not going anywhere with the stories. They've overextended themselves, Marvel, Disney, and DCU overextended themselves with the characters and storylines, sometimes leaning too heavily into the comedy. It's become played out. And he said it's the same experience with Disney's live action remakes, right? So this is all. So with the X-Men or any of these other ones, Fantastic Four is a great one to use right now, because the first two Fantastic Fours, the first Fantastic Four, then the reboot later on, I didn't think either of them worked.
Wait, oh my God, I completely forgot about the reboot. I was like, the first one from the 80s?
We're talking about I don't remember. Jessica Alba, but who was who played Reed Richards? The Fantastic Four 2005, was that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was Jessica Alba.
Yes.
And
that's
Chris
right.
Evans.
Chris Evans was my God. Yes, of course. Duh. So they did the Fantastic Four in 2005. And then
Michael Chiklis was the Shield, the Rock, or the thing. Jeez.
The Fantastic Four 2015. That's the one with Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, Jamie Bell. So yeah, again, that one, I just don't think either of those necessarily hit it. And this new one that's coming out, which I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but this new one that's coming out, I actually think could be good. I think they might be hitting the sweet spot and falling right in line with what the comics had intended. Like they're really hitting that like 60s retro. It feels more like what the comics were for these characters. Yeah. And so I feel like they might be nailing it on this one, but by and large, I don't see the need to be. I don't know. I do feel like we're past that superhero fatigue at this point. So like with the X-Men,
a good point.
Do we need to see another X-Men reboot? I don't know.
No. And I think that's a good point where it's like, do we need it? No. But is it going to be the good one? Yes. Why?
We don't need
because
any of these.
You have Papa Pedro. You got, come on.
Right.
But yeah, because I am excited. I think you're right that they're going the right direction with making it from like the 60s, and I don't know. I didn't hate what was it, 2005? I didn't hate that one. I thought it was fine.
I thought it was
fun. Silver Surfer, thought it was good too.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at it, what's weird is that 3 years later, the first Iron Man came out.
Yeah.
So like think about like superhero storytelling in that era. Like, because I think prior to the first Iron Man coming out, you had all these like Spider-Man like kind of like helped pave the way for like the change in superhero movies, but all these superhero movies really reeked of like early 2000s movie making storytelling, very much of that time and how everything looked. And I think it was just really interesting that only 3 years later, Disney came in and was like, hey, we're going to flip the script on all of this.
Well, but it wasn't Disney yet. It was Marvel. Marvel had...
Marvel did. I apologize. You're right.
Because they were losing money, and they were like, we got to sell off our stuff. They were selling off their IP. Fox bought X-Men and the Mutants, which I was like, did that include the Fantastic Four? Did Fox buy them? Because then Sony bought Spider-Man.
Right.
And then they were like, well, what do we still own? What could we do? And then that's when they did Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. That was their big gamble because they still had those IPs. And then that's when they started doing the Avengers. And then obviously Disney was like, you're making a lot of money. We want to buy you. Didn't they buy them for like $1 billion? And then like Endgame earned $2 billion. And it was like, gosh, dang it.
Something like that.
Can a bank give me a loan? That was a sure bet. I would have done that. Are you kidding me? Like...
But I do.
Are you going to pay us back $1 billion? Yeah, like 2 days. Just give me 2 days after this movie comes out. I'll pay you back the $1 billion. I'll take my $1 billion.
Let me get opening weekend numbers in, and then we'll talk about when I pay your payment schedule. Come on, leave me alone over here.
I'm good for it.
No, I just think the stark difference in superhero storytelling in those 3 years, because I think for what it was at the time, sure, people liked it, and it was like, okay, yeah, but you look back on it now, and I was like, that Fantastic Four, it was very 2005. That's the only way I can describe
it. One time I read, we were like talking about like the beginning of like video game movies, and it was like we watched Mortal Kombat, and then at the end he goes, he was like, when was this made? And it was like 90s something or other. He goes, oh right, before plots were invented.
Bingo. It's like, how many? That's exactly it. We can. Oh, here's all the references.
Effects.
Yep. Yeah, here's all the references. You guys like these? Yeah, you nerds. Yeah. Go goon to this, you guys. Yeah, you like Sona? Yeah, there's Sona Blade. Yeah, like Sonya Blade. Yeah. Oh, you like Jax?
You want to see Sub-Zero? You want to see Sub-Zero?
You want to see Sub-Zero Scorpion fight? Yeah, here, get ready. Get your special socks out, nerds, as Deadpool says. He was right. Yeah, no, look, Fantastic Four original one's got 27% Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it's aged well, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it did.
No. So you might be remembering a fonder memory of it. Then I'd be curious to have you go back.
I was a child.
You know, you were. Yeah. But so it's funny because eventually, I know we're kind of just all over the place in what we're talking about here, but eventually what we are going to see is and it's gonna happen. The MCU will start to reboot the same way they start over with every like 15, 20 years. They're like
Harry Potter
episode number 1, like for in comic book world, like they start over and they're like, for any new comic book fans, we're gonna reset the whole storyline so you guys can jump in. And this is this iteration of this character, whatever, right? The new edition. Eventually, we're going to see those in the movies too. They're going to take the comic 100%. Book approach, and they're going to go, cool, Iron Man 1, here we go, and they'll build up to an Avengers. And at that point, I will be done. I will wash my hands of the whole series.
Well, they did that a little bit with like X-Men when they were like X-Men, 2, 3 united, and then they were like X-Men Origins. He wants to see the origins of Wolverine. What if we did the origins of everybody one at a time?
You guys want those?
You guys want to?
We'll do them. Huh? Yeah.
Okay. First class. We'll just go back and we'll do like 5 at the same time.
Let me go.
We already made the Wolverine one though.
Let's do a quick speed run. I'm going to give you a bunch of these, and I'm going to see. See what you think. Okay. I'm going to give just reboot it or nuke it. Here we go.
Yeah.
The Twilight series.
Reboot it.
Really? Okay. I'm going to have to take a pause
it's Black Mirror. It's Black Mirror. Black Mirror is the Twilight series, if you think about it, to me.
Not the Twilight Zone. Twilight as in the vampire books?
Yeah, no, sorry. Nuke it.
We're good. Whoa, you just threw me for a fucking loop, man.
I was going off first impressions, and my first impression was wrong.
I should have let that ride, and that would have been the pull from this. Chris Vellucci wants a new more Robert Pattinson, more Kristen Stewart. All right. How about The Breakfast Club?
Ooh, no. Nuke it. Keep it as is. Mwah. Nailed it the first time around.
Because it was good. Got it.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget about him.
Here's a hot one here. Galaxy Quest.
Oh.
I didn't realize how loved this one was until I looked into it.
I want to say nuke it again because I think it would do great as a new one, but it's just like the original was just so fun. It was funny and redoing it and I think.
How about Napoleon Dynamite?
Absolutely nuke it. We cannot do a reboot of that for obvious reasons.
We don't want it. Got it. Okay.
Not because it's like, oh, it's an original. Like, here's the other thing. I actually haven't seen it, but I know that we can't reboot it in today's day and age.
Okay. 2 more. We're going to go with The Iron Giant.
I love this movie, and it has a special place in my heart, as it does with everybody. I would say reboot it because I think they could do. I don't think it got enough appreciation when it was first made.
Hot take.
And I
like
think
this.
If they do a reboot, I think people would truly appreciate it, and I think they could absolutely they know that it's going to do well, because I think when it first got made, it was such a gamble.
Yeah.
So it didn't get as much behind it. But I think if they were like, we're going to reboot it, people would be like, we're 100% behind it. Here's all the money. Make it really good. Get Vin Diesel again. Have him say, I am Groot. And that'll be the Iron Giant. No, but like, I think Giant. They could. Yeah, I think a reboot for that one. Even though I really love the original, but I think a reboot would be really, really good too. And I think they could make it real, because the characters, the relationships really, really worked. The only thing that you'd be CGIing is really just the robot, which, I mean, if that's like the one thing, I feel like a machine is pretty easy to CGI.
It's supposed to be a lightning round, Chris.
Sorry. Okay, next one. You had me thinking about it.
Last one. Eventually, Barbie. Quick, go.
It's too soon. Reboot it.
What about eventually?
Yeah, I'm going to say reboot it then.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that one does not need to be touched. It's a fantastic movie. I think it will age as such, and I do not think it needs to be rebooted. I think any reboot will only make it worse. I don't think it can improve upon it.
You don't want, like, Barbie's Malibu house?
No. Listener submissions. I think it was lightning in a bottle. I think that's a lot of these, too. You have to take into account some films were... of the time, lightning in a bottle. It was the right cast, the right time, the right director. It was like everything just worked. And Barbie, I think, was lightning in a bottle. It worked, and it worked big. And I don't think you can replicate that if you tried to. Listener submissions. We talked about Emilio's. Noah said, I'm usually in the leave it camp with a lot of stuff. But if I were to pick a series to return, I would love more Twilight Zone. So this is what you were going after.
Yeah.
He said, I know they tried to bring it back with Jordan Peele. I just don't think it reached enough people with shows like Black Mirror, Love, Death, and Robots. He goes, there's still an audience for anthology. And it just needs, it just needs to be done the right way. It needs to be done right. For film, he wants to see a return to the Narnia franchise, right? So he said he'd love them to try telling the series in chronological order and tell the complete tale of Narnia. He said, I know Greta Gerwig is working on an adaptation, but that's been in the work for a hot minute. And I have no clue what the current state of production is. So Noah, very much into the Narnia thing. I think that would be really cool to do it, and to do it as the right way for the book lovers. And then Seth said, I think most anime should be leave it, particularly when we look at live action reboots. I've seen enough. Don't need to see any more. It doesn't work. As far as one, I'd like to get to see a refresh or a reboot. The show Reboot from 1994, the first one that was done CGI animation. He would like to see that one, I'm presuming, with our updated current CGI animation.
I think that would be fun and cool too. Yeah. That one was ahead of its time.
There we go.
Also, cool. Beast Wars. I don't want the Transformers.
We've tried rebooting that. We're done. Yep. Oh, no, I know. Yeah.
Beast. There was the TV show Beast Wars, which was in the Transformers universe, but like that on its own, they tried to do like a weird Transformers, like Age of Animals or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Age of Extinction or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it was. Doesn't matter.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that was just like, give me. I just want Beast Wars. That's all I want, and I just want that. They're on their own little planet. They're fighting for the Energon, whatever it's called. That gives them power to get back to their home planet.
Cool.
Yeah. Dang it. You made me think of something. We did it. We did it.
There it is. So that's the main topic. We want to move on to a really quick game. We're running short on time, but I do want to get to this game. So today, the game that we're playing with young Mr. Chris Vellucci is called Guess That Movie from the Terrible Synopsis. I did the drum roll after I announced it. That's how backwards we are today. So you guys have heard us play before the movie plot in 5 words or less. This is derived from that. These are longer synopses, longer sentences. They're more than 5 words, but they're not the best synopsis. And Chris is going to try to guess which movie we are talking about based on the synopsis.
This is going to be embarrassing for me.
I tried to cater a few of these towards what I know your interests are. A few of them aren't catered towards you, but let's see how you do, Chris. Are you ready to play Guess That Movie from Terrible Synopses?
Yes. First one, Ninja Turtles, nailed it. Next one.
Oh, God darn it. You're actually right. No, I'm
Ninja Turtles 2. Third one.
Here we
better believe it.
A service provider technician with a boundary issue ruins a man's life in the name of friendship.
Cable Guy.
Wow. Not even a
You come into
moment
my
of
house.
hesitation. Not even a moment of hesitation.
I love Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey.
That's why I put it on there, buddy.
I'm looking for a Finkel and a clean pair of shorts.
Number 2, a janitor takes out the trash with a mop and roundhouse kicks.
A janitor.
Think about it.
A janitor takes out the trash. Roundhouse kicks.
With a mop and roundhouse kicks.
A mop. I don't know. I mean, Roundhouse obviously makes me think of Walker, Texas Ranger.
In a sense, this movie is also a reboot, kind of.
Yeah.
It's coming out again. They got a new one coming out this year, starring Peter Dinklage.
I don't know.
Buddy, no?
Yeah.
The Toxic Avenger.
The Toxic Avenger? I actually don't know that one.
Oh, all right. Well,
that's on me.
After the show, off air, we're going to educate you there. All right. How about this? Yeah. A rich man builds a glorified zoo. It goes poorly.
Jurassic Park.
Absolutely. Yep.
Glorified zoo.
It goes poorly.
A really bad reptile house.
All right. Here we go.
Or aviary.
We're going to go with this one. Number 4. A young country woman is given new shoes and then hunted.
Oh, that's got to be Wizard of Oz.
You got it. Absolutely. Number 5. We're gonna barrel through these. Number 5. A divorced dad weaponizes drag to sabotage his ex-wife's new relationship.
Weaponizes drag. This is Doubtfire.
Absolutely. Yes. Here we go. Number 6.
Oh, it breaks so many laws.
It breaks so many laws.
Restraining
identity theft.
order.
It's exactly. Endangerment of children's lives.
Fraud.
It's breaks into his own breaking and entering. Here we go. Number 6. 2 men with the combined IQ of a potato go on a cross-country trip with a suitcase full of cash.
Combined IQ of a potato. Dumb and Dumber.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I threw 2 of them in there for you. We got 2 more. Here we go. An angry dog teaches a family about rabies and poor car maintenance.
Is it Cujo?
And number 8. A dead guy just won't leave your house and keeps trying to marry your daughter.
Keeps trying to marry your daughter? Casper?
No, sir. No,
he
sir.
was like a boy. Hold on. Ghost trying to marry daughter.
Just don't say his name 3 times, because then it's showtime.
Beetlejuice.
There it is. Well
I was going to guess
done,
House on
Chris.
Haunted Hill.
Well done. You did a really good job with those, man. You got, I think you...
Thanks.
Outside the Toxic Avenger and Beetlejuice, you nailed those.
Thank
Absolutely
you. Well, you catered to me, so I appreciate that.
Well done. Christopher, we did it. We're here. We're at the end of the show. What do you got to recommend today?
This camera. Tell the audience what you got going on.
You caught the reference. I love it.
Which fucking camera?
What do you got, Chris?
Man.
What do you got to recommend for people here?
Let's go on. What do I have to recommend? TV show. You know what? Not because they did the live action. I think a lot of people watched it. But if you haven't seen it, watch Avatar: Last Airbender all the way through. The cartoon. Okay. This doesn't need a reboot, but they did it. They tried to bring it to people by making it live action, and like they did a pretty good job. But like the cartoon, it's award-winning for a reason. It has the best character arcs you've ever seen. You are literally watching somebody go from acting like a child to taking on responsibilities and having an inner conflict with themselves and how they manage their responsibilities with their own morals. Like you just don't get that kind of storytelling. We're talking about relationships, and it's just like that storytelling in that show was so good. Just like it's a masterclass in relationships and character arcs.
I love it.
Good guys become bad guys become good. It's amazing.
Doug speaks incredibly highly of that often. The show is referenced a lot on this show. So that show is referenced a lot on this show. So I know that is a favorite of people. Is it on Netflix now? Where can people watch that?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
If not,
just watch that. Don't watch. You don't have to watch Legend of Korra. That one was good, but it wasn't as good.
Okay. Same universe?
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to recommend The Place Beyond the Pines. It's Ryan Gosling, Eva Mendes. It's actually where they met and their love blossomed. And Bradley Cooper. And it's from, I think, 2011? Place Beyond the Pines, 2012. It's been on my radar since it came out, and I just never got around to seeing it. And for years, decades now, I've wanted to see it, and I have not. And finally pulled the trigger on it, and I'm very happy I did. Ray Liotta's in it as well. I forgot about that. But it's a very depressing movie, way more depressing than I thought it was going to be, but a really good movie. I like pretty much anything Gosling's in. So
Place Beyond the Pines.
I recommend The Place Beyond the Pines. Yes.
What is it?
You can watch it on Netflix right now, or you can pay for it on other services.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it on Netflix.
You can watch it or rent it. Your call.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. Watch me watch it.
Watch me watch it. Watch me watch it. Motherfucker.
I'll watch it. Yeah,
that's right. Chris, so what do you got? What do you got to plug? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to talk about that you've been up to other than breaking up with people?
Full circle, baby. Man, what do I want to plug? I mean, I haven't. There's nothing new on it, but like the Chris and Matt YouTube channel.
Okay.
Me and a comedy buddy of mine, we have the Chris and Matt show. We're trying to get to just being Chris and Matt, mature, grow. But it's on YouTube. I actually recently saw some friends in Virginia that I hadn't seen in like plus 10 years. And one of them is really nice. And she just told me, she's like, I love the shed. That shed one, it's my favorite one. And I was like, that makes me so happy to hear, because it's such a weird sketch. It is. But it brings to mind the idea of like Pokemon, where it's like, there's all these Pokemon, you're like, why? But there's somebody out there where this Pokemon is their favorite. For some reason, like this person's like, I fucking love Caterpie. And you're like, you like the caterpillar guy? Like, there's nothing special about it. And so it's like to be like, I love the shed. It's like, you like the shed? That's great.
That's awesome. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the Chris and Matt show, Chris and Matt YouTube, at Chris and Matt on YouTube. Go watch some of our stuff. We got lots of bits. We're always making more.
And then if people want to find you personally, any social medias or anything that they can find you?
Oh yeah, I'm on the Blue Sky now.
Oh,
for the obvious reasons. Tweeting Blue Skying. I don't know what they call
because
it.
Of fascism.
My thoughts. Yeah, that is at This Is Vellucci. So my last name, This Is Vellucci, and my Instagram is at Chris.Vellucci. Both are pretty spare right now, but I think this is going to be my year of cranking it up, being a little bit more of a social presence. More fun.
You heard it right here. Chris is going to crank it up and crank it out this year. He's going to be cranking more than he's ever cranked in his life.
Jason Statham's Crank It. I want that. I want a reboot of that.
Right. Vellucci spells Vellucci. Go check him out on all the social media platforms. And while you're checking out him on the social media platforms, at Mind Gap Podcast on pretty much anywhere that exists online, we got that handle. Check us out on YouTube. We got redbubble.com. You can get merchandise. We got t-shirts and other fun stuff for the summer. Chris has t-shirts. We've got new.
I didn't wear my shirt. Should have worn it.
We've got new swag out there. You know what? I don't have it. I don't have the sound clip. But Noah has a wonderful soundbite that Doug snagged from one of the times that Noah was on one of the streams. I think it was a video game stream. And if you go to redbubble.com and search the Mind Gap podcast store, you'll see it. I'm not going to say what it is now. That's called a tease. Go check it out. It's naughty is what I'll say.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Perfect for the summertime. Go wear it out and about. Like I said, we're on Discord. We have an amazing community on Discord. So come join us on there and be a part, of the Mind Gap community. Meet some awesome people. Share an unbelievable amount of gifts and memes. But we've got different channels there for anything that you want. You want to bitch about work, we got that. We got a political channel if you want to get on there and see what people are thinking, what's going on. D&D, a channel dedicated just for D&D stuff. Anything you want, gardening, homeownership, fitness, working out, recipe sharing. My God, can the Mind Gap community cook? They have some amazing recipes on there. So check us out on Discord. And like I said, on YouTube, that's the big one. Doug and I always say, please subscribe. We're at this point, I think we are at 497. So we're 3 away from hitting that 500 mark. And we'd love to hit 500 subscribers by our 500th episode. This is episode 497 as well. So we currently have the same number of subscribers as we do episodes. We'd like to just tick forward and see if we can hit that 500. We have a very special 500th episode coming up. So please make sure to keep your eye on all the spaces. You're going to want to watch that episode. It's going to be hot, let me tell you. It's going to be awesome. And then you can find me on Instagram at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's a fun way of spelling it. Check us out on any platform where you can find audio podcasts. You can find us there. Subscribe, rate, review, share. Big one is sharing. And then TuiStaith.com, TuiStaith on all social media, loveandimprovfilm.com, Love and Improv Film on Instagram. I've said a lot of words, and now I'm going to say, Christopher Vellucci, thank you immensely for being with me today.
Thank you for having me and dealing with all of my internet troubles.
Listeners, viewers, thank you, and you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.